Let's do it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ladies Power Lunch. Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, I love everybody. We are all like dear friends of each other. And also, there are a few people who, when they walk into my space, I just feel my vibration just lift. It just rises. It's like my vibration doesn't have a choice. It's like trying to stay down there. It's like, nope, you gotta come up. You've gotta rise. You've gotta be lifted. Elizabeth is one such person, ladies, and the few gentlemen who have made Ladies Power Lunch your home. Welcome. Elizabeth is one such person. You can't be in her presence and just not feel uplifted because she is a bright, shining light of the universe. She's here to talk to us today about how to amplify our abundance toolkit. So, guys, we have abundance around us all day long, every single day. And I talk about this all the time. I'm about to break out my pom poms because it's pom pom time. I talk about this all the time. Abundance is over here saying, hey, I'm over here. Look at me. And we're over here looking under the book, looking under the calendar, looking in the, looking everywhere except over here where abundance is. And so sometimes we miss it, but it's not that it's not there. We just need to be looking in the right direction. And so this series that we have been having for the past couple of weeks and which will continue for another few weeks is really focused on getting us an opportunity to tune into abundance because it is here for us and we are here for it and we're ready for us to line up together. This is us. This is abundance. Let's get it together. That's what we're talking about today. So, Elizabeth, welcome. Let me give you the opportunity, please, because I've only just told people, oh, hey, if you need to have your vibration raised, check out Elizabeth. But I think they probably need a little bit more detail. They need to know a little bit more about what exactly it is that you do. So, can you please, Elizabeth, share that with us? Thank you so much.
Sure, absolutely. So my name's Elizabeth Hill, and I am the owner and publisher of Green Heart Living and Green Heart Living Press. So basically, people come to us. Hi, Tanya. It's good to see you. Basically, people come to us at any stage in the writing process. So they might have written a book and they're looking to publish it. So they're looking for a publisher. They may have written a book and want to self-publish, and we can help them with that. They might have an idea for a book, but not really know how to get started. They might have written a few chapters and then gotten stuck and not sure where to go. Or they might be wanting to be part of one of our book collaborations and kind of tiptoe into the idea of publishing with us, or tiptoe into the idea of creating their own book, but want a little step in that direction. The type of works we do are primarily memoir, inspirational book, helping people with business and entrepreneurship, that type, like personal development and business growth. Those are most of the books that we do. That's where we like to hang out. And my background is in social work. I have my master's in social work. So a lot of the things that we do, if there are topics that people are writing about that are intense, they might have some traumatic parts of it, I and my team are prepared to be there with you as you're going through those kind of difficult or challenging parts of the writing process that might come up. So that's what we do.
I love this. So I would say that, there's so many opportunities for people to share their stories and everybody's got a story. Let me just tell you, if you think you don't have a story, that means you have a story. So have a conversation with Elizabeth because every single person has a story. And if you even think of your childhood and you're like, my childhood was just the most amazing, blissful thing. There's no story there. Guess what, guys? That's the story. There is a story there. And in sharing your story, you make it so much easier and so much better and so much more of a smooth ride for the others who are coming who need that story that you have to tell. I know you mentioned that we in the publishing that we do with your company, you do have the credentials to support the writing to heal. process. You also are able to support people at any stage of the writing journey, whether they're just wanting to tiptoe into it and maybe feel into being part of an anthology, or if they are ready to do this thing and they have a series of books in mind that they're ready to get out into the world wherever they are. I love that your company and your team meets them where they are.
And I'd like to share too, because I didn't mention this, I am happy to teach people how to publish themselves. So I love being able, sometimes people come to me and they go, you know what, I'd really like to do what you do. I'd like to go out there and establish my own publishing imprint. I'd like to be working with authors and putting books out there. And I'm happy to set people up for success in that and teach them things that I know. That's really fun for me to do
And I
as
want
well.
to say hi to all our friends who are joining us in the Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group. Just want to say if you're catching this on our podcast or if you're catching this on our YouTube channel, and for some reason you're not yet a member of Ladies Power Lunch, come on and join us. It's amazing over here. And it's just a wonderful group of women and a few amazing men who are ready to support each other so that we can all grow and we can all be lifted and we can all be amazingly abundant. So, Elizabeth, you said you had some tips for us. 5 tips you said you had for us for expanding our abundance through using this idea of publishing our stories. Can you share with us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I'd love to. So I actually have 8. We'll see how many I can get to in this amount of time. There's actually unlimited amounts of ways that you can use publishing and books to source abundance. And as small business owners, we're always looking to grow our income streams, right? And so, yes, there is a obvious income stream with book sales and royalties, but that's only one portion of the way that we can access abundance and resources and income streams through our book. So the biggest thing that books do for us when we publish a book is they develop that know, like, and trust factor. And as Davia and I and others in our group like to say, that know, like, love and trust factor, right? So as people, when we share our stories, people get to know us. They get to trust you. They get to feel comfortable with you. And you might even help them in significant ways by sharing your story without ever having had a conversation with them or meeting them in person. That's the power of books and sharing our stories, so that when it comes to them meeting you, it's they're much more likely to jump in to work with you in other capacities. So that's the biggest one right off the bat. The second one is that books establish you as an expert in the field. Right. So anytime you're watching the news, if you're at if you're reading the paper, who is being interviewed? It's often somebody that's talking about the book they just wrote. Right. So that is something that becomes available to you if you have a book that you can go and be interviewed in different ways. You can land speaking gigs if you have this, because having a book, it establishes you as that expert in the field. Books can free. So this is books can be easily.
I want to
Yes.
stop you right there
Yep.
because this is something that people don't really, I feel like they don't really appreciate as much as they should. I tell people this all the time. Look, I know you're the same person. We have amazing opportunity to have Dr. Tanya joining us here in the studio today. Hi, Dr. Tanya. We Dr. Tanya is going to be the same woman, right? She's amazing. We know because we know her that she's amazing. Problem is, people out in the world who've never met Dr. Tanya, they don't know her the way that we do. And so they don't have her in the high regard that we do. But same Dr. Tanya put her name on a book that tells you about who she is and what she does and explains to you about the benefit that she gives to her clients. Same Dr. Tanya, she hasn't changed in any way, size, shape, or form. And suddenly, the gravitas that comes behind her name, Dr. Tanya, published author,
Yeah.
bestseller, it
Right.
puts her in a totally different category. And it shouldn't be that way, But the fact of the matter is, in this world that we're living in, the perception is the reality. Did you have a comment on that, Dr. Tanya?
Yeah, I was just going to say, when people identify with your story and what's happened to you, and they say, that's happened to me too. See, then it's like walls just fall down, because they can see that you've gone through something, and they want to know, how did you do that? How did you get through that? And I talk about that a lot when I'm telling my story. What's the thing that I asked myself that took me out of being a victim and put me into being a learner of what the experience was really all about? Because it's very seldom what you see on the surface.
It very seldom
It's
is.
what's
And
underneath that, and how.
that's why we
Yeah,
also need to share these stories,
yeah,
because there's so many people out there who feel alone, and they feel like they're the only ones going through this thing.
absolutely.
And if you can share your story, what kind of difference could it make in somebody's life when they're going through their heartache and their pain? It
It
could be
opens the
everything.
door to healing, for healing to happen.
It does.
And
It
it's the whole
absolutely
reason
does.
why we want to tell the story in the first place, is because we want to help people heal through whatever experience they've been through, so that they can reframe it in a way that lifts them up instead of dragging them down.
Beautiful. So,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, tell us more. We can't wait to hear it.
Okay. Wonderful. Number 3. So books can be one second. I muted myself. Here we go. Books can easily be transitioned into different offerings without that much effort, right? So you can, and these can all be paid offerings. You can transition a book into an online course. You can transition it into a book study like Jen Jones is doing with her entrepreneur book. You can transition it to a coaching book group where you actually move people through and use the book as a support, mastermind groups, anything you want to offer. And so a book that has, $18 ticket price can then end up leading to larger offers like this, right? Which without that much effort, because it's the same content, right? A lot of the time.
I
Um,
love that. And I just want to say that, here's the thing that we forget. A lot of us have been a part, for example, of anthologies, especially in the last 2 years. I've noticed that has ticked up way higher than I've noticed it before. And we're part of anthologies, and we're best-selling author. And I can tell you, it's not, if you know the formula, it's not that difficult to be a bestseller. So, that's fine and good. But okay, when you're done with publishing and being a bestseller and celebrating that moment, which is important, what happens next? What happens beyond the bestseller? These books do no one any good if they're sharing these amazing stories and nobody ever gets to hear the stories. Oh my goodness. What's the purpose of that, in my opinion? It can be very decorative to have books on your shelf and they're your books. I mean, it's very pretty. These are mostly books from the authors that have published through Elizabeth's process, or who are members of Our Ladies Power Lounge, or who are friends of ours. Their books, I love to decorate using their books. But what happens next? And I love that you have your authors doing additional things, like having coaching programs and developing memberships around the content of their books, and having VIP days that are focused on that, using the content so that people who need the information can actually have it in their hands. Preach to us, Elizabeth, because you
I've got
know what I'm talking about.
Yes. So number 4, books can attract and support one-on-one coaching relationships and packages, right? So that's a really excellent way that people, they get to know you, and then they go, oh, I can trust this person with my stories, because having that one-on-one coaching relationship takes a lot of trust and vulnerability. And sometimes people just, it takes a lot to get them there. It takes less to get them there when they've gotten to know you through the book first. Also, sometimes when we do one-on-one coaching, we end up going through a lot of the same things with people over and over again. Sometimes, not always. But when you have a book, you can actually give that book to the client and have them go through a lot of that work and that process on their own. So then you can save your calls for some other juicy stuff that might feel more aligned for you, and use your time the best way. So that's a cool way too.
I think that's great. And I just want to interject here because I want to share an example of how that happened to me. Look, guys, I always have a coach. There is no room in my life for me to be scrambling and trying to figure things out on my own. I already know that it's much easier when you have support and when you have guidance. I was leading retreats for a really long time, and the retreats were great, but they could have been up leveled in terms of the level of transformation that they offered. And also, let's face it, guys, I was doing retreats and they were taking time away from my practice, but they were not providing us with income. There was no income from retreats. Retreats were an out of pocket expense for me. I was just doing them because that's my heart. That's where my heart was. And so I stumbled across a book. I was looking for new retreat venues for next retreat, stumbled across this book, Retreat and Grow Rich, in the theme of Think and Grow Rich of Napoleon Hill. And I read this book, and it was by my now mentor and amazing coach, Darla Ledoux. And that was my first introduction to her. And I don't choose a coach lightly because this is somebody who I am inviting into my most deep and secret thoughts and plans and goals and aspirations. You got to be careful with that sort of thing. And I read her book, and in reading her book, I read her heart. True story. And we have been together ever since. So when Elizabeth talks about this, don't just put it aside. Don't just poo poo it. This is really, really something I have experienced firsthand. What's your next tip for us, Elizabeth?
The next one is number 5. So books are easily integrated into sales funnels that lead to bigger ticket premium VIP offers, right? So, and Barb Pritchard does an excellent job of this. You can take a chapter of the book, right? Or a section of the book, and you automatically have an opt-in, right? You automatically have a portion to a free offer to give away. So it's also, and you know, as we do our book launch campaigns, we have them go for free at the beginning or for a few days, right? So people can, with lower investments, step into getting to know us and build a relationship with us in that way. So that's number 5. And number 6, books amplify your reach so that clients, this is my favorite, they might all be my favorite, they amplify your reach so that people come to you rather than you having to beat the pavement to try to find your
Can
next
you say
client.
that one again, please? I don't think everybody heard you.
They amplify your reach so that clients come to you instead of you having
Did
to
you say
track them
the
down.
clients come to you instead of you having to go to them?
I know, it's crazy.
This is what I always talk about, fish jumping in the boat.
Oh,
You want the
fish
fish
jump.
to
Oh,
jump in the boat.
fish, come on. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't.
well,
So
it's okay.
yes, and from years and years of doing it the other way and knowing it can work, you can go fish and you can do it. Like I have built my coaching practice that way, but to experience it the other way around, and I want that to be available to people, right? I don't want to just keep that to myself and be like, oh goody, I get to feel like easy street, people come to me. I want other people to get to feel how nice that is and how easy it can feel, to have people come to you for support, right? Okay, so let's see. I think I have 2 more. Do we have time for 2 more? Maybe?
Yes, we absolutely
Okay.
do.
Content creation, number 7. So if you have a book, you basically have content forever for your marketing, right? You can take quotes, you can use that book, you can take an image, you can pair that with that. You can use your book in articles, you can use it for talks. You have that content readily available. That is yours. That is your intellectual property, and you get to share that from you, and that's really nice. And then number 8 is a little esoteric, so I saved it for last. So 8 is when we publish a book, we really settle into who we are and our story, right? So when I published my first book, I was a little scared to talk about it. I kind of built that confidence. My second book, I got a little bit more confident talking about my story, and it made me step into a more authentic version of myself. And then I landed as a real human being with people. I think before I was like trying to like keep it together and look perfect, and I have it all together. I have no problems. When I stepped into telling my story, I felt more abundant. I felt more true, felt more real, and that landed better with clients. So the business started working better, and I just felt better. So, and I do get to witness that when people share their stories, when they publish books, it is a leap, it is a step into leadership in a new way with having a book and talking about it. And it's so exciting to see what happens during that process with people. So,
That's beautiful. When there's some people out there who are hearing this and they're getting a little bit excited, but they're still a little bit hesitant. What's some advice that you'd have for somebody who knows they have a story to share, but they're still feeling a little hesitant about taking the step to even have a conversation with somebody like you?
yeah. Yeah. Well, I say baby steps are great on this. Baby steps are totally great. And it can be reach out. You don't have to be clear on what your story is, right? You don't have to consider yourself an author or a good writer. You don't have to, feel like you've succeeded in this masterful way or anything, right? What you need to do is feel like, you know what, I think I have a story that could help somebody else, even if it's one other person. I feel like this could make a difference for someone. Or even the feeling of, you know what, I went through this and it's got to mean something. I got to put it to some good purpose. If you have that feeling, I love talking with people about this and just explore what could be next, because there's a lot of different ways. It could be a book, it could be writing, it could be speaking on podcasts, it could be whatever the avenue is to share your story, to reach out to me or somebody else who does work similar to me and get support and start talking with other people about it, right? We have a lot of people who have published books and shared their stories in our sphere. Talk to somebody else and just be like, hey, what was that like for you? Can you tell me a little bit about it? And that can start to build a little bit more comfort level for you as you tiptoe into it.
Wonderful.
And it's worth it. There's nothing like getting an email from someone saying, I read your story in this book, and I can't tell you what a difference it's made for me. It just, there's nothing like that. It's
I
worth
can
it.
truly say that that is an amazing experience to have, having experienced that firsthand. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts and talents with us, Elizabeth. As always, today's Free Gift Friday, and you're giving away a free gift of a conversation with you. Really introspective, deep, absolutely no obligation conversation. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I love it's really like a possibility conversation. I love to talk with people and help them in any way. And sometimes that's from me helping them, in a book down the way. Sometimes it's just brainstorming with me about like, oh, how do you want help with your business? Sometimes it's just being there with you while you maybe tell your story for the first time that you might not have shared with anyone. Like you can do that with me. So it can be anything that you want it to be. I like to bring all the hats that I've worn throughout life to my calls. So it can be anything you
Awesome.
want.
Well, if you would be so kind as to choose a number between 1 and 20, we could choose today's winner.
Oh, it's 8. It's 8. Abundance. Like that.
Today's Free Gift Friday winner is Michelle Lemoy. She's watching with us over in the Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group. And I have to say, she's also a best-selling co-author with me on one of the anthologies that I've been a part of. So she knows firsthand what this whole process is like. And I'm looking forward to her having conversation with you to see what her next step could possibly be. This is wonderful. Everybody, thank you so much for joining. Elizabeth, as always, you bring it. You come prepared and you come with the information that we need to grow our business, to amplify our abundance in this world. We are going to be back on Monday with Ladies Power Lunch monthly networking meeting. And that's when we get together and we network with each other, we learn from each other, and we also have a very special guest. Her name is Michelle Jacobic, and she is going to be talking to us a little bit more about this abundance that we're talking about for this next series of episodes. So I hope that you will be able to attend with us. Our monthly networking meetings are always every third Monday of the month. It's 12:30 Eastern Time, 11:30 Central. And it's about 90 minutes. It's virtual, so no matter where you're in the world, as long as you have an internet connection and you are committed to women supporting women, you are absolutely welcome to be a part of that. So I hope you can make it. Guys, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy every single moment of it. Look for the abundance where it's hiding. It's not really hiding, it's in plain sight, but it's probably not exactly where you're looking. So tune into that abundance, and I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye, everyone.